This is Gil Gerard. You're watching Video Outhouse, and all I gotta say is thank God there's no trace of these guys in the 25th century. We wiped them out in the 23rd.
It's the Outhouse Gang. Humor them or they'll cry.
Hey kids, how you doing? Comic Book Man here. Welcome to the Video Outhouse. It's shop talk time again, and I've got one question, one lousy question that was worth using off of Facebook, and it comes from Juan Arivalo, who, if you remember, Juan was our second.
That's a shocking
was our second Meet the Creator. Our second Meet the Creator.
And he was a nice guy.
And Juan wants to know from the Outhouse Gang.
St. G.
Gentlemen,
Yes.
what if Superman migrated to Marvel, or other characters migrated to Marvel, or back and forth, now that we've discovered that all these characters can be in play if the money is right?
Look, never say never. Never say never. We've
I
learned
can
that
say
through
never
life.
all the time.
Exactly.
Especially
But
with the Superman thing, because that is the most chance of something actually like that.
it could, but you know what? In my opinion, DC or Warner's letting Superman slip through their fingers has about the same amount of chance as.
Miracle Man going back to Marvel?
Well, there's even less of a
Yes,
chance of
there
that.
you go.
Probably more like Michael Moore and Rush Limbaugh sleeping together.
But, okay.
I really don't see that. That's a
I got
cash.
videotape.
Getting up
That's
OxyContin.
Man.
That's-
You never know what might happen.
Wait,
with
just
that
think
guy.
about those two whales slamming into each
Well,
other.
it is not
Jesus Christ.
exactly.
Like bacon.
It's not exactly a Rockwell portrait, but what are you going to do? I don't really see that happening. I mean, some of the other smaller characters, sure. I mean, does anybody care if Blue Beetle goes to another company or another whatever?
What is it with you and Blue Beetle?
I love some.
The one thing I was
Hispanic?
the one thing in relation to this that I was talking about with another customer was what happened with the Marvel deal was a $4 billion price tag was put on 5,000 characters at Marvel, and a week later Warner Communications decided they were going to restructure. When that price tag was put on Marvel's characters, Warner's sat up and said, "Wait a minute, we've got at least 5,000 characters, and our characters have to be worth at least $4 billion, especially the holy trinity of Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman." So they've affixed a price to this. Even if you want to sit down and divide 5,000 by 4 billion, that's how much each character would be worth. Okay, just on a flat basis. Just on a flat basis.
Okay, then.
So what happens if Disney at some point, or Warner's at some point, gets into a cash crunch like MGM does right now?
Right.
MGM needs $20 billion right now, okay, and some more money to restructure. What if they decide to sell off some franchises like, I don't know, the whole JSA? Whole JSA's up for sale, and they sell it off to whoever.
Let's just say this happens, hypothetically
Or,
speaking.
or with Marvel, say the Defenders. Hulk, Submariner, Silver Surfer, they're all up for sale. Who wants to buy them?
Justice League winds up in Marvel. Let's just say that. We're going to be seeing Marvel zombies with Superman rotting face and Batman with a rotting face.
Well, Superman,
if
his
they
face
own 'em.
couldn't run.
Still, they find a way. It's comic books.
If they
find
own
a way.
'em.
I don't like that concept. I really don't. I want these to be separate entities for whatever that's worth. They need to be separate entities. DC has always been Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, the JLA. It needs to stay that way. Maybe I'm old school. You would probably agree with me to some degree. But I don't want to see those characters in Marvel or at any other company, to be honest.
Well, remember, for those of you who've been reading comics for as long as me or JR, Charlton's characters like Blue Beetle and The Question used to be owned by Charlton,
But that's
not
Blue-
DC
but
Comics.
That's Blue Beetle in The Question. It's
Exactly. But I'm talking about peeling off some of the lower hanging
Well, if you
fruit
wanna go there-
and knocking them off.
If you want to go there with the lower tier characters,
that could happen.
I don't have a big problem with that, to be honest with you.
DC could decide to sell Lobo, and Marvel could pick it up, and Lobo could be in the Marvel
Right,
universe.
it's not a
then.
character I ever had.
Or Hawkeye. Or Marvel could decide to sell Hawkeye.
They can rename him
to DC.
Wolverine.
Yeah, well, this is true. The lesser tier characters, really, I think that's kind of apples and oranges. I just worry about the larger ones. All right, Bo, I've hogged enough here.
My God, you've been talking forever.
I know. Sick of my own
Okay,
voice.
as far as the big three are concerned, Superman and Wonder Woman would not work over at Marvel because Marvel doesn't do that kind of stuff. Batman wouldn't have a problem fitting in with the Marvel universe at all. As far as minor league characters are concerned, yeah, they could, but what would be the point in trading off minor league characters? Characters in minor league,
Fast
characters-
cash.
It's not even a question of fast cash. You're talking about a $4 billion. You're talking about a company like Disney, which doesn't have a lot of debt, as opposed to Warner Communications,
Now.
which has a lot of debt.
Yeah, but that's now. Anything can happen in the future. Anything can happen in the future, and all these characters are assets. That's all they are. And when you need money, you sell off assets.
Dan?
I'm of the opinion that if a company's going to go through the trouble of paying for another character, they're not going to do anything to drastically alter it. You know what I mean? Not too drastically. You know what I mean? As far as swapping characters back and forth, I'm with JR. I don't want to see it happen because I think competition is what drives the creativity, which is what pushes the boundaries. So having Superman injected into the Marvel Universe, I don't think you're going to all of a sudden see a bunch of new, great, stupendous Superman stories, a bunch of super new stories even. I think you just see the same stuff at DC, just insert your favorite Marvel team-up character there. You know what I mean?
Crossovers aren't unprecedented.
Well, that's happened in the
They're
past.
also not good most of the time
Most of the time,
either.
but those are usually one shot, a mini series
Right,
or whatever.
couple
But we would
issues.
be talking a constant sort of.
would be a permanent basis.
Yeah,
I don't think you get
well, I
anything
think at
out
this
of it.
particular point in time, more than any time, you're probably going to see the rebirth of a crossover. They said you get people who DC who are no longer there, who were against it, and people who Marvel who didn't have a problem with it. So you probably will, let's say 2010, 2011, see some crossovers, and they do actually co-own a character they created for the last crossover.
Amalgam.
Yeah, Amalgam, which hasn't been seen since, so it could happen.
Yeah,
but
and there's a reason for that.
What a great character he
because the
was.
character was because the character was pretty lame. He crossed over from one another. Did he have any superpowers? at all? He was crap.
Not to get the whole amalgam thing, but geez, look what the character's supposed to be. Let's see, we're both going to co-own this character, so how much work are we going to put into making this character popular?
Zip.
I mean, if ever there was a character who was created not to be popular, it's that one.
Amalgam the lunchbox.
You know,
But you know what?
he exists as a plot device only.
Maybe even major characters are not out of the realm. I mean, we did the story about MGM. They might have to, if they have to sell off assets, James Bond could go out the window. Is there a bigger franchise in movies than James Bond?
And that was Juan's point.
Harry Potter.
That's Juan's
Exactly.
point.
But if anybody else acquired the rights to James Bond, would they do anything drastically
No, it'd be
different
the
with
same
the formula?
It would be the same James Bond.
You would inject a new
still
character,
gonna be
a new
James
actor
Bond.
to portray him, and a new famous bad guy, and then that would be it. It would just be at a different studio. And I think, you put Batman in Marvel, put Batman in Avatar, and you might see a drastic change in the way things are done. You know what I mean?
If you
Or
put a
Image
Superman
Comics.
in Marvel, does he really fit in Dark Reign? Does he fit in?
Superman doesn't fit in the Marvel universe. This is because Superman is
Well, that's because Marvel
lot
Superman
of-
is
a lot-
schizophrenic. You know
a lot,
what I mean?
a lot of Marvel's
they have a
characters are
Superman
science
already.
based, and DC's characters are not science based. Superman doesn't really fit because if he's Superman over in the Marvel universe, he can't be, as some people say, which is why they can't get into the character. He can't be boring.
Well, remember when Marvel bought the Malibu universe? They've done wonders with that ever since then.
Yeah, they bought the Malibu. See how they got with that thing.
Superman is only as boring as the writer who's writing him.
Correct.
true.
So if Superman was going to go over to Marvel and Jeff Johns is going to go with him, I'm all for it.
I'm not.
Jeff Johns fan.
But I mean, DC bought all the milestone characters. They have all the Red Circle characters, like you said before, the Charlton characters and stuff like that. They've done this before, and you've only lately seen a resurgence in milestone and Red Circle to hit or miss
Yes.
success. You know what I mean?
Thunder
With
Agents
most
are
of
next.
them.
You know.
Stuff like the Fawcett characters, stuff like the not Red Circle, Fawcett characters and the Charlton characters. Those are from defunct companies. The companies were gone. They were dead. The copyrights were laying out there, and DC basically came in and picked them up for what I assume was a song since they were dead companies. Okay, what we're talking about is a thriving company that's having financial problems. That says we got to sell off some assets to make some fast cash. Who can we get rid of that we don't care all that much about? We're not going to get rid of Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, but what about Flash? What about Green Lantern? Okay, or with Marvel, not Wolverine, not Spider-Man, not Hulk, but what about Captain America? He
Ghost Rider.
hasn't really done anything for us.
Moon Knight.
Moon Knight.
It's Batman.
This is true. But then again, we could draw parallels to all these characters if we wanted to or had the
I mean,
time.
most of the characters. I mean,
But we don't have the time.
Or nor do
Yeah, we don't
care.
have the time. Yeah, we don't care.
We don't.
So
Conclusion.
that's
Thank
it.
you.
I brought us to a conclusion.
So thank you for the segue. So, Jr.
Yeah.
You think that would be a good thing or a bad thing to start moving the characters around?
Lesser tier characters?
Any characters?
Not the major ones, no. But if it's lesser tier,
Okay. Oh.
Nah, it's a bad idea.
Okay.
Thank you, Bo.
Bad idea.
Okay. And me. Gee, I think that once you start mixing stuff like that together, you're asking for trouble. But then again, it's going to be their assets. Disney's going to own Marvel's characters. They can do whatever they want with them. If they want to, they can stop publishing comics tomorrow and just do movies. It could happen. It could happen. Anyway, Juan, hope that this shed a little bit of light on your question. This is Comic Book Man. We're done here with Shop Talk. Until next time, stop off at the store's website, www.myalternatereality.com, see Shop Talk, and a plethora of other things that are just fascinating and you'll love and you'll think are wonderful. Till then, bye! Bye!
bye.